Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm enjoying a nice breakfast out here in forests, and I think I'm going to do it enjoy it a little bit more slowly than usual, in the sense that I'm not going to make a quick bannock bread, but I'm going to enjoy a nice slow bread roll. So without further ado, let's go to the recipe. I'll show you guys what I'm going to use to make the bread, and then I'll delve into the recipe and show you guys how. Alright guys, let me show you what I'm going to use to make the bread rolls. First up is my Crusader 2 cooking set, which includes the stove and the trangia inside. I'm going to use a 12 centimeter billy can, a GSI glacier cup, and my baking stones, and I'll show you guys my baking stones later as I come up in the video as I'm going to use them. I'm going to set up my cooking area, and I'll be back with the video and the recipe. First thing we're going to need is both some warm water and some hot water. So I filled the billy can with some water. I'm going to light up my stove, and when we have some warm water I'll continue the recipe. Let's see how the water is doing. Yep, it's definitely warm enough. So I'll take it off of the fire for now, so I can prepare the dough. Okay, so I've put aside the stove and the billy can for a bit. The billy can is getting nice and warm from the hot water. I'm going to set up my dough and make my dough. I've brought along some pre-made mix I made at home. It's basically just flour, some yeast, some salt and sugar. I'll include the recipe for my mix in the description, so you guys make some at home. Whatever you use is fine, as long as it contains a little bit more yeast than usual for this method of baking. Making the dough for a bread roll is a two-step process. First you add some flour, not a lot because it'll expand for quite a bit. This is I think a little bit more. This will be enough. And as I mentioned, it's a two-step process because first you make kind of a gooey batter-like dough, and then you add flour to make it nice and firm and kneadable. You add a little bit of oil. This is enough, not a lot. And then you add a little bit of the warm water. Enough to make it a moist dough, and you don't want the water to be too hot because that'll kill all the yeast inside. Let's see, this is certainly wet enough. There we go. I think I'll add a little bit more flour and a little bit more water to increase the volume of the dough a little bit, because I'm kind of hungry. A little bit more warm water. And make sure you mix the dough quite well. As you can see, it's very wet at the moment, kind of lumpy, which is fine, but we need it more firm than this. So now's the bit where we add enough flour to make it the consistency of the dough nice and firm and kneadable. So we got the dough to the consistency that we want, which is a firm, kneadable, pliable dough, as you can see. Now the dough feels nice and warm because of the warm water, but now we need the hot water because we're going to start the rising process. So we'll put this dough aside for a bit and then we'll finish boiling the water. And there's a little trick you can use with the billy can, which I'll show you guys. But first up, I'm going to take away the dough and I'm going to finish cooking the water, which will give me both a chance to enjoy a nice cup of tea, and I'll show you guys how to start the rising process in your billy can. So let's see how the water is doing. And as you can see, it's come to a rolling boil almost, which is what we want. So I'm going to take this billy can off of the stove and set things up so I can show you guys how to make your dough rise in your billy can. So see you guys back in a bit. So what I'm going to do here is the following. As you can see, the water is quite hot. We're going to take the little pan insert for the billy can and we're going to put it on top of the hot water, like this. We're going to put in a little dab of oil. And we're going to oil the pan up a little bit, and that'll make it easier for the dough to remove the dough once it has risen. Also, you want to oil up this part a little bit as well. There we go. And that'll make a nice warm hot container for the yeast in the dough to really become active and really develop and become fluffy. I've divided the dough I made into 2 dough balls. I'm going to make 2 bread rolls today. I'm going to show you guys one and I'll eat the other. So just don't make it too dense, but make it kind of flat and then put it inside for the dough to rise. And then what I usually do is I take a cloth or a shemak like this, and I put the billy can inside of the cloth, just to make it kind of pot cozy, to retain much of the heat. Like this. And make it nice and warm, nice and cozy, especially the top part. And then you wait 30 minutes for the dough to do its work, for the yeast to do its work, and then hopefully we'll have a fully, or at least nicely risen dough to bake. Alright, it's been about 30 minutes, so let's see how our dough is doing. I'll unwrap the billy can. It feels nice and hot, even warm. So this is always a kind of a scary moment. Let's see how our dough has risen. And as you can see, it's nice and fluffy. You see air bubbles forming in the dough. This is exactly what we want. You can smell the yeast. Alright, I'm getting hungry, so let's finish up this bread roll. As you will see, the little air bubbles forming will mean as soon as I start to fold this dough into itself, it will degas a little bit. That's fine. That's exactly what you want to do at this stage. Kind of fold it in itself and degas the dough. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to remove it, which is easy because the pan was oiled, and then I'm going to gently foil the dough over into itself. Gently. You can use a little bit of flour at this stage, just to make it more easy to handle the dough, make it less sticky. Just about ready to start baking. This is the part where I set up my baking area. As I showed you guys before, I'm using for baking stones today, I'm using some terracotta pieces I found lying beside the road. I think it used to be an old flower pot or something. They're great because they retain heat very well. You can use any type of stone you want as long as they retain heat to create a kind of heat barrier on the bottom of your billy can. a barrier which will soak up the direct heat from the heated steel from your billy can and spread it gradually across the insides of your billy can. So I've placed my baking stones as evenly as possible at the bottom of my billy can. What I'm going to use as a baking container inside my billy can is just a GSI glacier cup. I've put a small tin muffin foil inside. It really doesn't do anything because the heat isn't direct anymore because of its the stones and the fact that it's in a glacier cup inside the billy can, but it makes cleanup a little bit easier. So what I'm going to do now is place my dough inside my cup, place the glacier cup inside my billy can on the baking stones, put the lid on, and then I'm going to light my stove and start baking. So it's been about 15 minutes and I'll go and check out how we're doing. So I'm lifting up the lid, and as you can see there's some nice browning going on. It's not quite there yet, so I think I'm going to continue baking a little bit, but it's definitely going to become a nice little bread roll. It's been about 20 minutes now, so let's see how we're doing. And that looks like a perfect little golden crust. So I'm going to take the billy can off of the fire now and let it sit for a while, because the stones at the bottom of the billy can will continue baking the bread for quite a while. It removes easily from both the glacier cup and the billy can like this, and as you can see we have a nice little bread roll. Didn't really burn it. Very nice, lovely flavor. Sounds nice and hollow. So all you have to do now is wait for it to sit, but that's a billy can bread roll done. Hi guys, that was my billy can bread roll recipe. I hope you guys liked it and enjoyed it as much as I'm going to enjoy eating this bread roll. Please subscribe for more recipe videos like this. If you have any questions, comments or recipe requests you might have, please place them in the comments so I can take a look at them and I'll see what I can come up with next time. Otherwise, see you guys next time and happy baking.